Welcome to episode number 6. Jesus.
I have a fat ass, sorry. My bad, bro.
Welcome to episode number 6, Revelations with me, Kid Revel. Today I'm joined by the one and only, the God himself, Wally.
I'll introduce myself. I'm a god. We all know this. It's okay. Bro, I'm sorry, I'm out of it.
Okay, so, today's episode is a little bit different. It's more of a freestyle episode. The way the episode was shoot last time was going, it started off in a much more conversational way, and I really liked how it started off, so I'm gonna try and roll with that a little bit more freestyled. Do you have it pulled up just so you can see how it looks? The stream?
Oh, yeah, right here.
Bet. I'm just so we can see how it looks. But yeah, so I'm just gonna try and work a little bit more freestyle into the episodes because I feel like lately, the way we've been starting it has been, I don't know, like we'll get into it and then it sort of abruptly stops so we can get into the questions on the notes and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to try a little bit more of a freestyle pattern. So what you been up to, man?
Nothing.
What you been on?
I've just been kicking it. I've been having a lot of homies come in town right now because of the holidays.
Yeah.
So just been really spending time with them. I haven't seen them all in a minute. Ever since I started the whole podcast and YouTube and everything, I haven't really seen them. So it was really cool to like tell them about it and tell them about my future aspirations, what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like cool to, because I've been kicking it with you guys and stuff, and we're hella close and stuff.
Yeah.
But to see homies when I was thinking I wanted to do other things in my life, and then realize what really makes me happy and what I want to do in my life.
Yeah.
Now to tell them and show them in person, not them just be watching the podcast.
Yeah, you literally got them on the podcast and shit.
But that's my point. That's that gratification, no matter, because I know the shitty quality of it and stuff right now, but the gratification of being able to have my shitty art that just started to be able to share with my friends, it's a type of feeling that I've never been able to feel before.
Yeah.
And it's a type of feeling that is like, oh shit, you're doing something right. You may not be making money, you may not be really progressing as much as you want to be, as fast as you want to be, but take it in strokes, you know? You gotta be keeping your mental positive throughout all of this.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important point to touch on. I mean, it's not really related to the episode's theme or topic, but like I set like limits for myself, right? Like the amount that I'm willing to work in a day, and not because it's like I'm physically tired out and like I can't do anything, but if I set so many tasks for myself every single day in regards to like, you know, doing the thing I love and promoting it and you know, just everything surrounding the music shit I'm doing, anything besides actual work, it's, you gotta limit yourself because I feel like you'll get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, feels to me that the best method that I've come up with to get the most amount of things done in the most efficient way possible is to just set a certain number of things to do every single day, and then after those things are done, not continuing to look for new shit to do and continuing to keep myself busy. You gotta allow yourself to relax, and you gotta allow yourself to decompress after working your ass off for an entire week or whatever the fuck.
To touch up, I just feel like it's more along the lines of, for any creator, it doesn't matter YouTube videos, it doesn't matter music, it doesn't matter art. As soon as what you're doing as a passion and was purely fueled on what you want to do, and then it becomes like a job and you're being forced to do it, that's when you kind of like stutter to do it, because it's like, shit, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, 100%. When you start, it starts feeling like a job.
Yeah.
When it starts feeling like a job, you know you're doing a little bit too much.
Exactly. And that's a good basis to jump into.
Yeah, that's a big part of why, you know, I'm working as hard as I am and trying as hard as I am to go the independent route as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's like, it feels to me that when you sign to a label or when you sign to anybody that has any control over your music or your art based on a contract, it's completely like fucking the art into the ground.
I don't agree with that fully, because I feel like that there's some people who are in a place and have helped people who in the beginning they clearly had talent, but they didn't have the right vision, they didn't have the right background, like they didn't have the right marketing behind them. They didn't know how to market, and then once they got to the label, they were able to market because they had people that were good at marketing. And that person being, I don't know a specific, but I just know we can't fully say that labels are, because we can't fully say that labels are trash, or labels make people take a turn down a road that is bad, because at the same time they've made a lot of people prosper.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point,
because there's a difference between you and I, where it's like, yeah, we're not broke, but we're broke. We're not rich. We're not living lavish ass lives, but we're comfortable and we have all the necessary things to live. There's people who don't know if tomorrow's their last day or not. They have talent. They're offered 50 grand off the bat for a 360 deal or something. They're gonna take that in a heartbeat. If they're offering that to you, a 360 deal for $50,000, I don't think that you're gonna take that.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on where you're coming from,
so that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody.
But here's the thing: is that like it's not like I have enough disposable income to fund a full-fledged music career.
But you are not at a point that you don't know if tomorrow's your last day.
It's not like I'm literally like in
that
the trenches.
check to secure where you're living. You need that check to secure tonight's meal. You are good for the moment to be grinding, because you know your worth, and you know in the future the potential that could pay off from it not selling out. Because if you were to sell out now or whatever, I say sell out, but it's not really selling out. When we're talking about wanting to be independent and stuff, it depends on your situation.
Yeah,
Chance
100%.
the Rapper, one of the most successful independent rappers, to date.
Yeah.
I see you in the same type of footsteps of battling with labels to help other artists realize, shit, y'all have the friends, y'all have the connections, y'all are able to be your own unit. You don't need the labels.
Yeah, that's true with a lot of people, but that's also not true with a lot of people. So that goes back to what you were saying about how labels have made not as many, they've made a lot less, but they've made a lot of people, and they've also broke a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because there's two sides to the coin of a record label or being signed to somebody per se, right? Where somebody has creative control over what you put out and what you do. So it's really on the positive side. Say you were to sign to a label that genuinely, whoever's signing you genuinely cares about you, and like they see you as like a really good artist, and they're signing you because they think.
But that's
a
one out of.
Right?
Think about how many labels there are. Like, when I say label, when we're talking about labels, we have to like verify what we're talking about, because there's two different kinds of labels. There's labels that are the mainstream labels, Republic, Atlantic, many more you can name. But then there's a lot of shady, smaller labels that would pick up on somebody that has a little bit of something going for them, and then, like you're saying, will turn and then make them take a step and fuck them up.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, the point I was getting at is that regardless of how big or small the label is, there can be somebody there that has your back, right? So it's like, if there's somebody there that has your back and they continue to work there and all that shit, then you might get a good, I don't know what you would call it. You might get a good deal, right? Not necessarily talking about specifically the deal that you're signing, but you might not get signed, record a record, put it out, it flops, and then you literally like have another 3-record deal, and they're kind of just like not even wanting to release your music, so you're still stuck within it. You know what I mean? It's like there's a big difference between somebody seeing a little potential but not really caring, and they're kind of just like shooting in the dark, and they just want to take a chance on you. and somebody who genuinely like cares about you, either A, as a person, or sees
But
so
I feel
much.
like that's when having a manager comes into play, and
Well,
that's where,
everybody needs a manager.
but that's when you can only wish that the record label wants what's best for you and stuff. But a record label that for somebody that you're, say you become homies with somebody that is underground but has a little bit more, and they got signed to a record label that they thought was going to be all amazing and everything, and their manager even said it was going to be amazing, but then it ends up they got fucked over.
Watch out.
But then it ends up they get fucked over in the end.
Yeah.
So it's really, at the end of the day, you can never truly know how the label is going to treat you as an artist, because every label might treat a different artist differently.
That's where circumstances come into play.
But that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, what the whole topic of today is, or whatever, in my opinion, it's like record labels are losing their credibility.
Yeah, more and more.
Day by
day.
day. And I don't see any labels, with today being so social media and so viral and stuff. And think about Coach K, think of like for quality control and stuff. They understand social media and stuff. So I don't understand why there's no record labels that are urging and soothing people's comfort, or trying to take that extra mile to not be in that light. Why? I don't know why there's people not.
A few reasons for that is A, they can't, because the business of a record label is virtually, so when you sign an artist, it's like leasing them a career.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're signing them $100,000, and you're saying on their advance, and you're saying, okay, here's $100,000, go out, make some fire shit, because we already believe in you and we think you can make a lot more money than that. So here's this money, go out and do whatever you want to do. That's them putting their trust in you to do this thing. And so there can be a few different, let me just make sure that's straight, but there can be a few different outcomes to that scenario, right? It can go, A, you can impress them and you can spend that money well and you can make a bunch of money back. And in that case, they're going to be like, oh, this dude's going to make us a fuckload of money, and they're going to double down on you.
True.
Right? And so then you have the backing of the label. And so then you can either transition into the stage, or can honestly start like this. You can not impress them with your next record or your first record, and then you're basically fucked.
True.
Because then they're like, oh shit, we just spent $100,000 on this dude that's about to make us nothing.
Yeah.
And then it's fucked. And then it's like, as a dude in a record label, it's like whoever pulled the trigger on that, it's virtually their fault. So then they're like, oh shit, like,
at the end of, well,
they need to get out they need to cut their losses as quickly as possible, type shit. So it's like, that's where like the flip flop of it is, and that's why I say they kind of can't correct their light, because the shitty deals that artists are given are the reason that they're stuck in shitty situations is majority of the time either A, which you were saying earlier, where they're desperate and they have to do it to get their next check, to pay their rent, whatever, and they're desperate as fuck, and then they're fucked, and I feel for those people. But then there are people who just don't do their due diligence. They don't do their research. They don't know what they're signing. And I'm sorry, like, I don't have a lot of sympathy for those people. No matter how young and dumb they were, it's like, no matter how young and dumb you are, if you're over 18, people under 18, like, I feel bad, because sometimes their parents literally fuck them into these deals. If you're over 18 and you sign a fuck deal and you don't have to, and you were just doing it because you wanted the clout and you couldn't wait for it and you couldn't go independent, or you felt like you couldn't go independent or whatever, it's like, I don't have sympathy for you.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm choosing this route very early on because I know what I want, and I don't think I'm that much smarter. I'm not like a genius. Like, I just do my due diligence and I do my research. And so, you know, if I were to sign to a label and say they were like, yo, we don't need to own your masters, but we're going to take a bunch of money we're going to give you this advance, and obviously we're going to want it back. I'm not, like, suggesting that I'd never take an advance. And I speak a lot on the industry as if, like, I hate it to my fucking core. But the music industry is what is allowing me to have aspirations to make money and live off my music.
Yeah.
So it's the industry that I claim to suck, which is, you know, the title of this thing. The industry I claim sucks is also the one that's going to end up feeding me and my family for generations type shit. So it's a weird corner, right? No, it's not really a corner. It's a weird situation, the industry.
Weird mix-up.
It's a weird mix-up because, you know, it's like it's a can of worms that we're gonna bust into throughout this whole episode. But, you know, to start off with, the industry is really evolved into something much different. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and it follows a business model. And so if we're talking about labels, these labels are, like I said, leasing careers to people that they believe in, and if they don't come back with something that they're happy with, then you basically get fucked.
True.
And here's the big thing. Labels aren't always right. Just because your first album doesn't sell like that, they might cut you off, but they might be completely wrong. Your next album, your next few albums might go insane, and you just needed that learning curve, but they already fucked you out of the next 5 years of your life. So it's like you got to make the decision. Is this worth it? Like, is what I'm signing worth it?
I don't, because, hear me out, I don't know any cases where somebody has been signed other than like America's Got Talent or something like crazy
Simon
like that,
Cowell.
or something going viral of somebody doing a cover or something.
Yeah.
But as far as people making their own music, I don't know if anybody's been signed before their first viral song. So after their viral song, hear me out. If somebody gets signed off of the viral song, they expect that consistency every time. So when that first album doesn't come out, they don't think that they're the professional that they're paying them to be. So at the end of the day, it's like their whole life's work was their first song that went viral. For some other people in today's age, it's every single song is a hit.
Yeah.
It just has to be the right ears to hear it. The right people have to get a hold of it, hands on it.
Yeah.
And be able to get it to the right people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's like playing with labels is a gamble. And it's not the whole, labels aren't the whole industry. The industry goes way deeper than labels. But speaking on labels and sticking with the topic so that, you know, we don't go too all over the place here. Like I think I was about to say, like, I'm sort of attempting to build my career in a place where I can be either independent or I can sign to a label with enough leverage to get a deal that I want. So all I really want is my masters.
Yeah.
It's like that's all I really care about because your masters are forever.
True.
And well, not only my masters. I care about my masters, my likeness, my merch, and then that's about it. Because it comes down to how savvy of a businessman are you, aside, like, you know, alongside how good of an artist are you, which is a very difficult mix. Like, not a lot of people can do both because you need to be a very savvy businessman. You need to set up your career to the point where you'll be making money off of your likeness and off of your brand and off of all these, you know, off of everything you do, whether it's your merch, whether it's your tours, whether it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
You want to be making money off of it.
True.
Because you're going to be putting in a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
And so you want to be getting your money back. And so you can do that one of two ways. You can get signed to a label and they'll handle most of that shit for you, but they will also take a cut of most of it. Or you can do it yourself, which will take a lot longer. It'll be a lot harder. You'll put in a lot more fucking hours, but you'll get a lot more fucking money. Like
more
a lot,
profit.
like if an independent artist say,
yeah,
all right,
they get 100. They get 100. Well, the label's not touching it, so you get 100% of the profit, and then you divide it up from there.
Yeah,
but
that's
at the end of the day, keyword you.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I completely forgot what I was about to say, but
dividing the profits.
Yeah, no, it was before that. It was just like,
my bad.
No, you're good. It's just like I said, it's a gamble, but it really depends on your position. If you have the leverage to negotiate your deal, then you're good. But if you're stuck with deals that are only 360s and you're stuck with like,
that's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. So it's like you really got to know where you're at with the labels. But aside from the labels, there are a lot of other scummy people in the industry, because it's not just labels. Managers can do the same thing. Like, there's a very famous story about the Beatles coming up, and the Beatles' main manager, who they came up with, and who, literally they went from Love Me Do through to I don't know what record, but they did all of their main records with this manager, and all their main tours and all this stuff. They came up with this dude.
Yep.
I forget what year, but in the middle of not the middle of the Beatlemania, but like a little bit after, he dies of a drug overdose. And so then the Beatles are left in limbo because all of them are... Is that you breathing? Yeah, okay, it is. I was like, I keep hearing like a sound, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Am I breathing that loud?
Yeah, it's pretty loud. It's so funny. I was just like, what is that sound?
Jesus Christ.
So it was like right after Beatlemania, and basically their manager dies of a drug overdose, and they were left in limbo because all of them were amazing musicians, but none of them were business savvy at all, by any means. And so they literally got into a position where they created a record label called Apple Records and started doing their own stuff. And their new manager, who helped them with all this stuff, they trusted because John Lennon and Yoko Ono trusted him, and this was when the group was about to break up, so things got really weird. But a new manager comes in, and he basically has them all sign this thing that's like, I forget exactly what it is, but it's a thing where he, I should have done more research on this, and maybe I will, and we'll talk about it again in another episode, but he signs them to a deal that fucks all of them.
Damn.
Except for Paul McCartney. Because Paul McCartney said, I don't fucking trust this guy. I'm not signing this. And he just said that to all of them. He was like, guys, don't sign this. Like, I'm telling you. And they were like, no, like, you clearly don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, okay. And so he didn't reap all the benefits of what it would have gotten them. But instead, he was the only one who didn't get fucked.
A smart one.
Yeah. So it was like...
He protected himself.
There are a lot of really good managers in this industry, but there are also a lot of scumbags who will do the same thing that a lot of labels will do, and they will attempt to turn a profit off of you and your art, and then fuck off with you when you're not the biggest name type shit. So, it's like we talk about a lot of pros and cons, so it's like, I don't know if you know too much, but I would just like, to hear your opinion on it. There's like a lot of pros and cons in the industry as a whole, but it feels to me that if you put in the time and the effort to construct your team around you within the industry, or whatever it is, whether it's your manager, your publicist, whatever, if you construct your team smart and you know the people you're working with and all that shit, to me it feels like, as with maybe any industry, that is what will make the music industry the easiest to traverse, the easiest to navigate.
Well, yeah, because it's when no one in the mix is trying to backstab someone. Everybody knows their role, and everybody's okay filling their role. Everybody wants to be the top dog. Everybody wants to be in the limelight. So if somebody's feeling a little jealous that they're not getting equal amount of something, they're going to try to throw a wrench in the wheel, no matter what it is, to try to set you off.
Yeah.
And it'd be somebody you'd never expect to fucking do that shit to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a manager. It doesn't have to be a label. It could be your family member. It could be like anybody, literally. So you just gotta always be careful in protecting yourself.
Yeah, 100%. So I think...
what were you gonna ask?
No, that was just kind of it. It was just like, I want to hear your opinion on sort of...
The pros or the cons?
Not necessarily the pros or the cons of the industry, because like we'll get into that like in a little bit. I want to talk about the pros and the cons of signing to a label and the pros and the cons of being independent. But before that, I wanted to talk a little bit about just like, I guess I'll just let you spit off this if you want. Sort of the idea of the commercialization of art as a whole. And I'm going to preface this just by explaining a little bit what I mean, because we had a little discussion about this earlier. It's really that in almost every facet of art, whether that's visual art, whether it's film, whether it's music, whatever it is, people have found a way to commercialize it and to make it literally an industry that has corporations within it that have a monopoly over almost everything.
What do you mean?
So, say we're talking about say we're talking about Marvel, or not Marvel, we're talking about movies, and we're talking about Marvel. Marvel has become, I don't know who owns Marvel or what, but Marvel has become such a fucking monster in the film industry that it's almost like, and obviously I don't know the film industry as well as I know the music industry, so I'm kind of just trying to make a comparison here. It's like whether it's Disney or Marvel, they've become such a huge figure in the industry that they're almost, you could call it a gatekeeper, or you could call it because independent artists always make it through, but it's almost like Disney has a monopoly on the film industry. Not Disney specifically, but Disney and companies similar to it, like how Republic and Interscope and other labels have a monopoly over the music industry, and they basically pick and choose the artists that they want to blow up, while the independent artists literally have to work their fucking ass off to get to the top. So I guess what I want your opinion on is sort of like, do you think that it should be like, because I guess that there's no physical way to ban it or stop it, but it's like, is that fucked you? Like, do you think that it's just the natural course of things for corporations to spring up and completely take over an industry, or do you think that those sort of things are?
I feel like if you have the wallet, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so with Disney, they have the wallet. They could do whatever they want. Who are we to say something?
Yeah.
We could be all mad and punching the wall and, oh, this isn't fair. All we want, it's not going to change anything. It's just how shit works. It's just a matter of that person knows that executive. That person knows that executive. Oh, shit. Both those executives know that you know both of them. Oh, shit, let's get you up on a radio show. And then this and that. It's a whole orchestrated thing that is very...
So very what?
I don't like it, but I can't change it, so I can't necessarily call it a con just because it's not me or you in the position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For other people, it set them up. I don't know them. You don't know them. So it's like we don't know what they went through to get there. We don't know if they struggled. We don't know these things.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you're saying, yeah, they get to pick and choose, well, yeah, they get to pick and choose. Until we get that connection of being able to be the one picked and chose, we just gotta wait.
Yeah. And so does that extend also into your industry almost? Because, specifically to bring it around to something that you can talk a little bit more about and that I know a little bit less about is like 5 or 6 years ago, podcasting was like
nothing.
It's like everybody knew what a podcast was. Everybody listened to a podcast.
Yeah, so
but today
I used to talk about podcasting like 4 or 5 years ago, and people looked at me like, "Bro, are you what are you talking?"
Yeah. So,
but now it's like one of the people watch podcasts over listening to music. Like, now I'm not gonna say primarily, but 5 years ago that wasn't even a conversation to even be had that people were listening to podcasts.
There are people who don't listen to music and do listen to podcasts.
Exactly. So I feel like the podcast industry is very heavily based on just like anything else. It depends who's on the show and what audience they can bring. It's not a matter of the quality of the show, because the quality of the show could always be improved with the right editor, with the right whatever, you could always meet those people, and that's all they do. The people putting on the amazing podcasts that there are, those people on the show are not the ones editing it. They're not the ones doing. They're just coming to record it because they're already made people doing the podcast. There's no people that are starting a podcast from nothing and trying to get a bit of buzz off of that. Continue that while whatever the fuck I want to do. I want to end up starting to do some acting. So when you put it all on the spectrum, it's like, yeah, right now the podcast community is a lot like record labels, and like you're saying with Disney, they get to choose and stuff. But it's because they've earned that. They did a bunch of shit before having a podcast to be able to earn that status of having that podcast and then continue to make the podcast better. I'm not somebody that has a name to be able to bring in a shit ton of viewers, a shit ton of subscribers, this and that. I have to earn that. I have to do some shit to get there. So can I be upset that Logan Paul or Mike Tyson or these other great podcasters are in the position that they are? No?
That's not really what I'm referring to, though. More what I'm referring to is... Because I think those guys all did it on their own. What I'm more referring to is these podcast networks.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm talking behind the scenes, because those guys aren't podcast networks. When you think about, they're their own people.
When you're talking about podcast networks, that's very slim, because not... Like, when you go to talk to somebody about a podcast, they're watching it on YouTube or they're listening to audio only on Spotify. If they're watching it on another platform or something, that is very, I feel like, on their website or on a different platform, because I don't really use other platforms yet anyway. So I feel like those platforms are very... Just like for at the beginning of YouTube, when you first start, you can only have the link and people can only click the link and shit. Like before, for the first, I don't know how long. But then you could start to type it in now, and then like you found it. In the beginning, you couldn't. So it's all a process to getting to the connections for the podcast. I don't have the connections for the podcast. I have connections for like music industry. I have, because I worked and I earned that shit. Podcasting, I just fucking started. I can't expect a shit ton out of it if I just began in it. And like you're saying with podcasts right now that are just starting and blowing up or whatever, it's because they were a TikToker, they were a Vine star, they were
mostly
you're that's what I'm saying. You keep avoiding the fact that I'm saying these are people that are doing something and have a ginormous audience before ever attaching themselves to a podcast.
But not all of them. But what I'm saying is these podcast networks like Barstool Sports, and there's a few other ones. It's like not all the people on Barstool Sports are popular people. Mm. They're people who are signed to Barstool Sports. They work for Barstool Sports, and then they start a podcast, and then that podcast gains traction because they're already connected to Barstool, and they're already signed to this bigger label. So more what I'm talking about is these bigger labels for podcasts of sorts. It's like, how do you feel about that opposed to gaining it like all these other people did, whether it's off TikTok, whether it's off YouTube, whether you're Mike fucking Tyson? It's like,
I can't feel any type of way of it, because me being me and now not being an employee there anymore, but 2 years of working at iHeart, you kind of learn something about the whole business. Like, of course it was radio and stuff, but it gives you kind of a bird's eye view of how everything in the industry works and how do you know what I mean by that? Like, no. When you're saying these like podcast companies and shit, you can't get mad at the people starting the podcast because they were working at Barstool and stuff, because they had the they made the opportunity where there was room to.
Well, it's not really bad. It's not about being mad at them. I'm just asking your opinion.
Yeah.
Like what? Like
well, yeah,
your
no,
opinion
I didn't know
to
if
signing
you.
to
No,
a podcast
I thought
network?
that you would think that I'd be mad.
No,
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
wondering what you think about like it's almost we're in like a similar position. It's like me sitting with my music and being like, fuck, like would I give the masters to this shit away for $1 million versus you saying would I give the IP of my podcast away for $1 million?
Fuck no.
No, right?
No,
So it's like
fuck no.
that's what I mean. I just wanted your opinion on sort of
which is priceless.
the industry, because that's kind of what we're talking about here. Is we're talking about the commercialization of art. And podcasting, I consider art. I mean, you can consider it whatever you want, but I consider it a form of self-expression.
But I
and
feel
it's
like
become like Joe Rogan signing to Spotify.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a huge example right
with
there.
With podcasting, it's different because, like, with Andrew Schultz, they have Patreon, so
they have their own shit.
There's so many wide varieties for podcasting and for videos.
Less for music.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So when you're saying that, like, trying to relate the two, I completely understand. But the only
I don't really understand the
like
podcast
Joe
world,
Rogan. That's a one of a kind type of that you don't hear about anybody else.
You don't think Spotify is gonna start signing more people?
Maybe in the future, seeing after how it does with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, they have to see because they just went live.
But that's
Joe Rogan,
my point.
Right?
It's like not everybody's gonna be getting a fucking deal like Joe Rogan. Not everybody is Joe Rogan. Not
do you
everybody
think some people are gonna
get
fucked like in the music industry? Like, do you think some podcast, like after a few years, because obviously we're very new.
Well,
into
the
it.
best example would be Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
Because I don't like. I could be completely wrong, and like I'll go back. I'll look it up after, but I don't know if it's necessarily the girl that started Call Her Daddy got kicked off, or if it's the girl the other way around. You know what I mean?
Well, they both technically started it.
No, there was
or one of them started.
One of them started and was editing it, and
yeah, that's definitely
everything.
not the one who got kicked out.
So then it was the blonde one is that started. I don't remember her name. I think it's Sophia or something,
yeah,
but
something like that.
Basically, one of them was okay with how it was going, and then the other one wanted more because she was talking to other Logan Paul, other celebrities in the podcast space, realizing how much they're making and realize how little they're getting paid. But this is like their second or third year with Barstool or whatever, so they're starting to be like, yo, why are we getting the same shit we were getting paid when we're having like no views? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she fucking would not work. She would not record any episodes or do anything. So then, I don't know how, like you're saying with masters and stuff and rights over the podcast, I don't know how that works technically when you're going, not a label, but a big company like Barstool. I don't know how that shit works with that because the main girl continued to stay there, and maybe because she continued to stay there, they didn't try to take anything from either of them, you know what I mean? Because the other one just dipped into this thing.
She got fucked though. I consider that.
But that's my point about it. It's like, I don't know why she let what someone else is making and what somebody else is doing.
Just fucking stupid.
Is what they're doing, what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And oh shit, you're able to, but you'd find that out later on. Be happy and humble with what you're getting. And then when you have the self-realization of, oh shit, I can be making more, that's when you go about it. Don't go about like getting mad because somebody else that you started talking to is starting to make more in the same position you are. You just gotta learn that shit. It's all about like fucking up, getting up, doing it over again, trying to become the best that you can.
Yeah, facts.
And so
overall, you would say it's not really the same game yet. If it's gonna be at all, I'm not gonna
because
assume,
bro, there's so many different ways to make money off of podcasts. Once you have an established base and you can move that, I'm gonna post it on here, and here, and you know that every 30,000 one of those views is gonna go across every single one of them. You know, every 30,000 one of those people is gonna listen to your shit on every single one of them. That's consistency. That is like consistent flow of marketing, you know what I mean? So once that starts to happen, sponsorships start to come. Oh shit, there's sponsorships.
Oh yeah, sponsorships are a big part of podcasting.
Patreons are just another place to be putting your like not less at it, because you could put really whatever you want. It's not like monetized like YouTube.
Yeah.
So then you put it on YouTube as well. You put it on Spotify, you put it on SoundCloud. I just don't know if it's really necessarily the same, because you could say anything is like art. You know, like if you're an artist and you have a bunch of paintings and stuff, you could say each one of those is like one of my albums or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to compare the two. I don't really think... I think that they're similar, but at the same time, I don't really see them being that similar, because I feel like in the entertainment space, being an influencer, being a entertainer, being a personality, you all kind of do the same shit.
Yeah.
So there's no really difference between the two other than the big names. And for music, you don't have Patreons and shit. You have shows.
Yeah.
For podcasts, we don't have shows. There's Patreons.
Yeah. Well,
those are the outside sources.
I'm gonna have like a Patreon type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have like a membership,
Mm-hmm.
because like that, in my opinion, that's the future. Like that's that's almost an untapped market, especially within music. Like if you've seen Logan Paul or Nelk Boys, they both have membership sites now where they put exclusive content. They have like exclusive meetups with the people who pay for this monthly thing.
It's the non-slut version of OnlyFans.
No, but it's
the OnlyFans for guys.
But what I'm saying is it's like
OnlyFans
no, but it's not OnlyFans. It's not like I'm signing up for this website and here, give me this money.
It's like OnlyFans for people that
membership.
Get pussy. OnlyFans is for people that don't get pussy.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. No, but
I feel bad for if you've ever spent money on it.
It's more like
subscription on OnlyFans, bro. Jesus.
It's more like, because the thing is, the difference between a membership site and an OnlyFans is like, having an OnlyFans is almost like, it's like, I don't know how
being a stripper at home.
I don't know how Patreon is, but OnlyFans is like you're signing up for somebody else's site, and then you're like, oh yeah.
Like I guarantee a girl would argue that OnlyFans is coming up is gonna be like record labels and shit.
Yeah, like signing up for OnlyFans and like I'm just posting my things here, come subscribe. There's a big difference between that and me creating a membership site where if people pay fucking $3 a month for my membership site, they get to see an entire library of behind the scenes content that's exclusive and can't be seen anywhere else type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unreleased demos, stuff like that. So it's like creating a membership site, in my opinion, is one of the best business models you can settle for today. That's why so many fucking huge companies like Adobe and Netflix and Avid are doing that shit.
Adobe is a goat.
Yeah, Adobe's crazy.
They know. I feel like I see Adobe ads like for the program that it is and stuff. They know how to fucking market.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just okay. Next, yeah. But I was just saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's also like a thing for podcasting where it's like you would put the extended episodes there and shit, like stuff like that. But that sort of brings me to the point of like artists today, whether you're signed to a label or not, you really have to figure out your revenue streams, because it's come to a point where the industry is so saturated. It feels like artists, like I don't know if this is true, but it feels like artists are probably making less on average. And that could be complete cap, because there could be more people who are listening to music, so it could be just more money in the business, but there are just so many artists nowadays. And it feels like if somebody's big, I don't see majority of people's careers going longer than 3-4 years. So it's like, how do you establish yourself and also create the revenue streams so that you're set from the art that you're making? And that's really the struggle that a lot of artists are dealing with right now, including myself, where it's like, how can I get to a point without signing to a label where I can actually generate revenue and start living off this music shit? And so the answer used to be touring, and guess what? No more fucking touring for now. So now it's like merch is the name of the game. The amount of artists that have been doing bundles is insane, just so they can get their sales up and shit. It's like everybody's turning in a good way. It's for better and for worse. I guess I can't really say it's one or the other. But the commercialization of art is like literally attempting to turn a profit and finding the best margins for certain items as an artist. So that's like, say what you will, it's like that's how artists are now being able to live off of and make a fuckload of money off their music, is by figuring out which items are selling the best, what bundles work the best, what specific items to sell. But like, I don't know, I'm conflicted on it, because while I think every artist should put out what they genuinely want to put out and not give a fuck what anybody says, at this point it's kind of like you need to give a fuck what people say in order to make a profit. Am I wrong?
You do have to care, but with moderation, because if you listen to what other people's realities are and what they think and what they think they know, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you just consistently, like I say, with moderation, because blindly thinking that you're the GOAT or the best or is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Striving to be the best, knowing you're not shit, but knowing you won't stop until you are the best, is a completely other story. That is something that you can't find in every person. That's the 1%.
That's facts.
So, I don't know. That's how I feel. I don't have much more to say on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, because I think that if you're looking at your data, say like the best items that you've sold and your analytics and stuff, I think that's a good thing to pay attention to. But you can't pay attention to the opinions. I read this earlier. I forget where I read this. You can't pay attention to the opinions of people you wouldn't take advice from.
True. Well, for me, when you talk about sayings, it's not even a matter of saying. It's just factual. It doesn't matter if you're making more money, but necessarily putting in work and stuff. If you're doing more, you will not have an ounce of hate in your heart. People that are striving to just leech or get shit off of people are the people that are hating as soon as you don't want to link or you don't want to do something. You know what I mean? So it's just very hand in hand to say fuck, I don't know, I forgot. You go. I fucking forgot.
Kind of forgot what you were about to say. Like what was the topic? What was that?
It's just the matter of when you're putting in the work nonstop.
When you're working your ass off, you don't have time to pay attention or hate on anybody else.
But that's my point. And so when it's taken as hate, what my consistency is, and that's all I'm focused on, that's taken as hate and fuck you, this and that. Bro, if you know me, I'm anywhere like that to anybody. Even if you don't like me, I'll still say, okay, that's nice. I want you to have a good day. That's just who I am. So as soon as somebody's trying to tell me that I'm a hater, that I don't like them or something, or no, bro, what?
It reflects more on them than
it's like you're telling me, you're showing me what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. If you want to know about it, we could talk about it. You could see it. You could support, and then I'll mutually support you. But when it's, oh shit, they're putting in work. Okay, let's go.
Time to hate on that nigga. Time to leech.
Time to go get It's just like, yo, bro, I'm just staying in my own lane. What is the issue with that?
That's another big part of the industry. No matter what industry it is, when it comes down to being, I shouldn't say the industry. That's life right there. Yeah. That's like when you grow up around people that are all trying to do big things and all talk big game, and then you're cracking your fingers right in them.
My bad.
That sounded so terrifying, bro.
It's cold as fuck, and they're hurting like a bitch.
But it's like when you're coming up in a place where it's like everybody talks about doing big things and wanting to do big things. When you get older, you start to see who's really backing up the things they were saying. Because there's a lot of
fucking work that goes into doing it. And there's only so many people that are actually willing to put in the work and are doing the work. It's one thing to say that you're doing something. It's one thing to be consistently doing it and then saying it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you. No, I think because like I said, this is not just relevant to the music industry. This is relevant to any industry. It's like when you start to put in the work and ignore everything else around you, you'll start to notice who is really about the work that they're talking about and who's not.
True.
And that's true for any industry, because the people who are doing the least work will most likely hit up the people who are doing the most work. And
like the thing that the most fine example is Lil Pump. It like how completely he fell off and how irrelevant he is, and in my opinion, how he ever was. The only time that I thought it was cool was when he first came out, and it was like when we were in sophomore, junior in high school, and we were in that community, and that was our thing.
SoundCloud rap. When
but then
SoundCloud rap was underground,
once you step away and then you reflect on what it actually is, and then you realize Lil Pump is irrelevant. He doesn't make good music. He's not an actual artist. He was just made a few catchy songs, and it was a wave for kids and stuff. He goes up on like Trump's shit or something.
Oh my
just
God.
to show relevance, bro. He's doing the most outlandish shit to be able to have people play music that people will argue is not even good to begin with. So it's like, why in the first place, if you weren't about the music, did you do it? It's because he was about the money. And so 100%. He's going to continue.
That's so obvious with some people. It's crazy how obvious
it's just
it
like
is.
You can only money runs out. Passion doesn't.
Yeah.
Unless it's forced out of you. Yeah. But passion, if you're wanting to be the most successful, is an unlimited supply. If you run off of money and how much money you're going to get off the bat, that's not the right mindset,
that's kind of the name of the game today, though, right? Like, but not for everybody, but when you're looking at the industry today, and I'll allow this to be the note that we sort of wrap on because we're around the time.
Yep.
Today, and the reason I titled this episode "The Music Industry Sucks" is simply because today music is so popular. It's so popular, especially rap music has become pop music virtually. Music is so popular that the amount of people that think they can and are going to attempt to make it in the industry is fucking astronomical. Like, it's insane. There's so many people who think that they can be or want to be rappers and or singers and or producers nowadays simply because of how accessible it looks. Mm-hmm. Because their favorite people, their idols, the people they follow on Instagram, they're all flexing money and they're all doing all this crazy shit, and they're like, look at me, like I'm the best rapper alive. They're talking all this shit. They're doing all these things. And to me, it's like, the industry has become so saturated with people who clearly aren't passionate about the shit that it's almost turning the industry into a corporation in itself. Not a corporation. That's the wrong word. It's turning it into not a community. It's turning it into, I'm trying to think of like, no. It's like, it's just becoming oversaturated. It's the point I'm trying to get to. It's come to the point where you could, burnt out, overrated. And it's like, I'm so in love with music that it's like, I'm never going to stop and I'm going to keep grinding on it. But, it's just, it sucks when you look at the industry that you really, really, really want to get into, and it's like the golden years of it are almost past you, and the path forward that you're looking at is like full of people who clearly don't give a fuck.
True.
Though I think the people who are truly passionate will always stick out and come forward because they will continue to work their fucking ass off, and they will continue to grind, and they will continue
but with today's
to move forward.
Age, viralness will prevail, but over long periods of time,
for now,
consistency and passion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can never knock on viralness, but viralness doesn't support and continue.
Virality has always been a thing.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's just different today with the internet.
Yeah. Because after they get a little bit of a viralness, they turn into a whole persona. Then they make money off of that persona.
Or they go viral and then they don't know how to handle it, and then they're just gone.
True.
It's like some people become such personas that they're just crazy, and then they'll keep relevancy because they're crazy. Mm-hmm. And some people go viral and freak out and then just are gone. type shit, like
They
Damn
can't handle it.
Daniel,
Well, it's because
like Vine, like
the
I'm
people
sure like
that
how
the
TikTok
people that
stars
go
where you see famous
crazy
TikToks
are the people that try to change their lifestyle to something it wasn't before.
Well, yeah, because people will try to adapt their lifestyle to the lifestyle of the people they're around / can be compared
That's
to.
why I feel like 9 times out of 10, the most successful people or whatever are the people that continued with the same clique from the beginning and are
Drake.
with them now because
100%
they know
Drake.
the
That's
same
Drake, bro.
consistency. They know the same flow. They're not in the room trying to impress anybody. It's the same repetitive shit, just like going to school the first 18 years of our lives. Repetition and consistency for anything achieves greatness. Ask Michael Jordan. Like, I'm just saying, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean that's why those are the people that I look up to the most, the people who have done the most things, not just in music, because they got there for a reason, and they're not just handed that shit. And a lot of people think that this industry is a quick way to just be handed fame and fortune, and then you're just good. Like, you just gotta make a hit song, you just gotta make a Lil Nas X song, and fucking you're just rich for the rest of your life. And this shit is a lot deeper than that, and people really don't realize it, and it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's like I love it so much that there's really nothing. The industry could get so overblown to the point where I don't think there's any point where I physically couldn't make money and profit off of my music and my likeness in the brand, but it's like, this is like the thing that I'm kind of like thinking about. It's like, do you think that there will be more and more fans of the music, so there will be more and more money, or do you think there will just be more and more people trying to make music, and therefore there will be less and less money? Like,
well, you have to understand, every year, everybody becomes a year older, so a kid becomes a teenager becomes an adult. There's always an adjusting viewership, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, you may, out of 10 people in the beginning, you may have like 2 of those people remain your fans 5 years later, and throughout that time you may blow up or whatever, but throughout that time you may get 2 fans out of those 10, 2 fans out of those 10, 2 fans out of those 10, that maybe a few out of those 10 were your fans too, but after a while they just were like, you know what, whatever. But those 2 out of 10 likeliness stuck with you through everything.
So you think there is a percentage that it's irrelevant to what the industry can do? Yeah, I agree with you. I think that about sums it up with what we're about to talk about, or what we wanted to talk about today. Is there anything else you wanted to comment on, just in the music industry, about the commercialization of art?
No, it's just shitty.
Yeah, it's shitty. And I know today's episode was a little bit less structured, a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit more. It was just a little bit more freestyled. So if it was a little bit, I keep saying a little bit, if it was less focused and you didn't enjoy it as much, definitely let me know about that. You want to get up just so you can transition it. If it was a little less focused and you didn't enjoy that, you definitely let me know about that, because, I'm still trying to. First few episodes, it was like a given, and I've got a lot more interview episodes planned as well. But I wanna improve on this thing. I want to do what you guys want to see, because as fun as it is for me to just sit here and talk shit with my homies all the time, it's like, I really want to make this. Did you switch it already?
Oh no, yeah, I did for a second. I fucked up.
Oh, okay.
And then I switched it back.
But yeah, so it's like, I just want to improve this for you guys as much as possible. So, I don't know exactly what it cut out on the screen there, but just what'd you say?
It just, on the outro, it was just for like a second, because I didn't think it was clicked, and then I clicked it.
Okay. But yeah, so I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on, just the show so far. I want to hear what you guys want to see in the future. I've got a lot of episodes planned, but if you have anything you'd like to see, I can definitely fit it in the schedule sooner than later, just because, I'm looking to expand a little bit. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching Revelations episode 6. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode and you're reminded every time we go live. Speaking of, we go live every Monday at 6 p.m. only on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Kid Revel. Look me up on IG, look me up on Facebook, Kid Revel. I love you guys. Have a good night. Be safe. Peace out.